wrote it down what was asked. So why not then do a very high voltage transmission so that the line loss can be reduced to less, no?
Yes, so
See, now we have normally from transformer which gives connection to the houses, you have a small transformer that is 230 voltage, but the line comes to that from a 11 kV.
Yes.
From 11 kV get transformed into a 230 volt in Indian standard, I am saying.
Yeah.
But then 11 kV, higher than that you will say 110 kV.
Yeah.
But in UK I think it's more than 500 kV, right?
No, 400 kilowatt.
Yeah,
That's
that,
the max.
it's little higher. I stay nearly 6-7 kilometers away. There is a power grid, national power grid research station.
Yep.
Once in a while we hear a huge bomb blasting there.
Because of the opening and shutting down.
No, they do experiments on the transmission. What is being done is, like, can we have, like UK has got 400, India is not having 500 kV. So we are looking into options where 500 kV can be transmitted. And the question why it is not 110 kV is not because it's nice to have a low voltage, but India has to transmission or transporting electricity, you should not use the word transporting, but actual transporting through the national grid have to be done. The voltage has to be higher, because the higher voltage, the lesser transmission loss. I am only reading between the questions.
Yep.
Correct. But then if you have the highest voltage for transmission, India cannot afford it also. Why?
Because the cables and all should be rated, yeah.
Yeah, it should be at the highest, because when the voltage is high, the earth automatically below the, you can see 110 kV line goes, they will not allow construction there at all, no? It is just left free, the land is left free, because anybody can get a shock.
Yeah.
If you have a heavy rain, assume that you are somewhere close to 110 kV, definitely you will get a shock.
Attracted, yeah.
So electricity cannot be transported like any other thing. Best thing is underground.
Yeah.
But India is not using underground at all, because we are experimenting all these. The underground transmission is better when we have got highest voltage and put it very deep. Even a small insulation is not good enough. See, there are a lot of things which that is because your voltage, current is proportional to power. The power is the power. Because electricity is called the dangerous city, right? Which is the most dangerous city in the world. Electricity is the most dangerous city in the world. Which city without which you cannot live in this world? Again, electricity. There are a lot of fun questions around electricity. We used to play with this. So it's a balance between the risk, the transmission. I remember teaching electrical engineering in 1985. I taught differential equations for the electrical engineering. The sag is the biggest problem. If you have two poles, when you put a line, the sag will be there. The more the sag, you have to compute the sag also before deciding.
So in India, the issue is having the wires high
Yeah.
and having it straight rather than.
But the problem is the higher is the cable, definitely you will have to have poles very near. Otherwise, the distance and the weight of the cable, you cannot use a small cable. The weight of the cable will make it sag. There is a computation in electrical engineering.
So why does England not have that issue?
Pardon?
Why does the UK not have that issue?
That is because you cannot have a small cage because it cannot carry that much. It will burn out. The resistance will be there. For every metal there is a resistance.
Yeah.
So, which is the lesser resistance? Probably you will have to use gold or silver. Which is not affordable, right? Most conducting electrical wire which is which we are using is copper. Copper itself is very costly. And when we use copper, definitely the environment will create problem. Therefore, the electricity will not flow after some time. You need an insulation. But what is being used for 11 kV, 110 kV is without insulation. It's an open wire. In open wire in the ground, you can only use aluminium. Aluminium has some resistance. It is not resistance free. It's a huge. We have got lot of electrical equipment. When Telangana partition was there, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana people were fighting. So I went there for psychological counseling of their cultural problems. That was an electricity department. So I was telling the shock of electrical. No, they were using the cup. You remember earlier we were using porcelain cup. Instead of porcelain cup, they used to burn after some time, burst it. So they have now a different metal, rubber sort of a metal which is used. So that was being manufactured in a company. I used to go there too. So I learned a little bit of electricity there also.
Is it underground cables in UK, Shaja, or?
No, overhead. We are using overhead as well.
It's most of the place it is overhead because it's step by step people improved. Assume that you wanted to do. Recently in India, one of the place we have a underground cable inaugurated.
Okay.
Because it's once you stabilize, otherwise removing the cable and replacing becomes a big problem. And another biggest problem, the insulation cut somewhere. The shock will be throughout the ground. No, understood? It's too risky. And easier if you have got a low voltage, local usage. Low voltage is good enough. And AC to DC converter. All the question where your battery plugging in and using it. Every train runs on DC or AC? One question I am asking.
Our here is DC too.
All the trains are DC only. Even including when you have got a steam engine or even with a diesel engine, the diesel converts. It is not like a normal combustion engine that converts into electrical. That is why every train can be run immediately. They can switch over from electricity to diesel, diesel to electricity, because engine is one and the same. So we cannot talk about the engine horsepower, but we can talk about engine which runs on DC. But that controller, as you said, the fluctuation is not the problem. That is why we are using power electronics. Now the recent train, the Vande Bharat, what they did is the high power, so high efficiency is being produced in the engine, right? So what is called the adapter, actually the AC DC converter is the most powerful one. Even the laptop, the battery is able to power with either 110. So generally that is given from 100 to 240 or 250. That is the range in which voltage is accommodatable. So anywhere it will work. And frequency, as you said, the frequency matters. So most of the equipments go bad not because of the voltage, it is because of the frequency. Even a small modem, if the frequency is not matched, definitely it will burn out. Yeah, it's good. I thought it's maybe little more information at that level only, I thought. And maybe we can take some examples and ask them to look at the specifications written. See, for example, Tesla, I don't know whether it is more environment friendly or not. Now people talk about battery charging and then using, but the battery which is produced uses what? Lithium. The lithium battery itself is an environmental hazardous product. Actually, I keep saying it is called lithium ion. So they call it as lion battery. It's actually dangerous, like a lion.
There are some studies. These electrical cars, battery cars are all worse than petrol and diesel cars.
Yes, really true. So what will happen is we have to talk about probably different electricity like solar, wind, give some extra other renewable energy sources which can also be used for producing electricity, right? So it's all DC. The best thing, then one question will come definitely, why in the houses people are not using DC?
Ease of generation.
No, it is because same problem will happen, because every battery should have a lithium inside. No, you imagine the house will have a maybe 5 Tesla battery together to run the whole house. Your fridge, electricity, air condition.
Catching fire, explosions.
Not even that. It is going to be more environment hazardous. Because you can imagine the huge number of batteries being thrown in the city where a lot of houses are there, right? After a few years. So, AC to DC converter and using equipments are not solutions. Actually, it should be reduced. I should not use a table lamp like this. I should only use the electric lamp. Because this becomes portable. We are all looking for portability. Otherwise, computer would have been using only the normal electric. When we want a laptop, we want it portable. But how many people are actually using the portability of a laptop? I am sure most of the people keep it on one table and use it permanent, right? Instead of that, you should use desktop. So, which is, when natural question, AC is to be supported or DC is to be supported? You should tell DC is to be supported. Don't use laptop. Don't use battery run equipments.
You approve Edison, not Tesla.
It's all triggered by the question which Prakash asked. Otherwise, I would not have thought like that.
War of current not yet settled.
But more going to be, if I talk to my son, he will say these are not solutions, nuclear is the solution, because he is a nuclear scientist. He says that's the most safest probably and most economical which is going to be. Only there is some hazards which happens. If you can take care of that, I think nuclear is going to be, after 2050, world will look for nuclear. I don't know whether you know the Saudi Arabia's project, the Line City, which is planned for 500 meter, nearly that's full of eco-friendly, which has got electricity being produced by the solar system, the water being purified, and the cost of water is $0.3, I think, for 1,000 liters. So it's a huge. I spoke about it on the World Environment Day. I was talking about the electricity consumption. You can imagine the huge cities without any electric power from the normal systems, not even with the oil generator. It's all from the natural sources. So when you talk about electricity, maybe some interest in that generated, I am sure people should have at least so much to look for these informations. It will make their eyebrow to go up. Otherwise, I think it's wonderful.
Good class. And,
but do you know who made electricity in India first?
India.
Which city? It's Mokshagundam Vishwesvaraya, Bangalore. I remember I went to Shimla. Recently I went to Shimla. No, they have wired and kept the house, but electricity was not given. Before 6 years of electrical supply was given to India, they have wired the whole thing because it's a president's palace. But electricity did not come there.
Okay.
I was there recently, so they were explaining. We have the oldest wiring system still existing without damage. I went into the building. Probably when you asked step up, step down and all, the figure has to come in place. The number of wiring which has got less number of wire and more number of wire. So the step up is done with the number of wires inside. You were asking a question, right? So the step up is done by adding the number of wires on the, it's same electricity. Otherwise, how can you just increase that? The input and output is same. And similarly, the hydroelectric power, the biggest problem is you have to supply to the national grid. If everyone in a city switch off, don't switch on at 6 o'clock, then the next village will burn out.
Okay.
See, the grid is supplying electricity based on the demand. If you push more electricity and everybody don't switch on their, that is why soon after electric supply cut off, when the electricity comes, many gadgets goes off.
Okay.
That is because the electricity pumps only in one direction. The other line would have been damaged. When the other line got damaged, when you switch on, what will happen? All electricity will run into one line, and automatically all the houses will lose their gadgets. Now they have an automatic tripping system. When the electricity goes in one direction which is beyond one voltage, they trip it off. That's why you will see when they disconnect, immediately the electricity power will go. Unless the whole line is cleared and repaired, they cannot switch on the line. Otherwise, they have to channelize it somewhere else. It's like your pipe is flowing water, you hold it, the pressure will increase, right? Electricity is like that. The electrons are pushing just like that inside your equipment.
By the way, you know our great genius, what is the Scottish scientist who discovered all the Maxwell, James Clerk Maxwell.
Maxwell.
And in Kathy loves physics.
Yeah.
She says Maxwell was modeling electricity. He did not. He's a pure mathematician. He did not have much clue about how electricity works. He modeled it based on water.
Water only.
Fluid.
Yeah, water flow only.
Pipes. Water flow. Fluid dynamics.
Fluid flow only. See, actually, light is also fluid flow. It's all waves, right? It's all frequency and waves. Either it is electricity, heat, everything is waves. The water is also waves. So what is visibly seen waves is water only. So everything, when we look at the equations of flux in light, the boundary conditions which you use in pipe can be exactly used in the boundary conditions in the light also.
I don't know much about
Light flow, there are books. I remember reading those books in Space Application Center when I joined in 1989.
Okay.
With the fluid mechanics I went and joined, and then I was doing remote sensing with how the light is making the picture, right? So the boundary conditions were same. It's beautiful.
And